The year ahead will be an important one in Quebec politics. Election and independence are on the menu. Unpopular Premier François Legault is trying to reshape his legacy and seek a third mandate. Paul St-Pierre Plamondon and the Parti Québécois are riding a surprising comeback, turning independence from an old question to a fresh new conversation. Québec solidaire is looking for balance, a bit divided since a change of leadership. The Liberal Party of Quebec, now led by Pablo Rodriguez, the former Justin Trudeau Quebec lieutenant, is trying to rebuild credibility in a province the Liberal Party once dominated. And Éric Duhaime from the Conservative Party of Quebec are turning anger and frustration into momentum, especially outside Montreal. That's the landscape we're stepping into, a mix of fatigue, identity, change, and maybe a chance to imagine something new, even historic. Welcome to Distinct, Quebec politics with an accent. A space to slow down, to listen, and to understand what's really shaping this province. From the inside, but in English. I'm your host, Farouk Karim. Each week we'll look into one issue, one story, one turning point, and try to make sense of where Quebec is headed. I came to Quebec from Madagascar when I was 2 years old. Like many who carry more than one identity, there's always a bit of tension. Sometimes you feel more one than the other. More Indian, more Muslim, more Québécois, more Canadian, and then it changes all over again. But what I've realized with time and maybe with a bit of wisdom, it's that I'm all of them at once. I don't have to choose and I don't have to explain. They all live together now, quietly, naturally, inside the same person. When I was young, I believed deeply in Quebec's sovereignty. I voted yes in 1995, my first vote ever, and worked with the Parti Québécois in my 20s. Later, in my 30s, I worked with the NDP in Ottawa. A different flag, but same curiosity. So I've seen both sides, the dream of independence and the reality of federal politics. And maybe that's why I can't stop asking myself questions about where Quebec fits, not just in Canada, but in a world that's changing around us. That's what this podcast is about. Not taking sides, at least not overtly, but taking the time. We're entering a fascinating political moment. François Legault's Coalition Avenir Québec is still in power, but its support shows huge gaping cracks. Paul St-Pierre Plamondon is capturing the imagination of a younger generation that never saw 1995 but feels something stirring again. Pablo Rodriguez is trying to make the Quebec Liberals relevant to a province that's moved on. Québec solidaire is redefining itself, trying to stay progressive without losing coherence. And Éric Duhaime's Conservative Party is growing fast, feeding off economic frustration and political fatigue. So where does that leave us? Somewhere between fatigue and possibility, between the memory of old debates and the need for new ones. This podcast is a small way to follow that story, without drama, without shouting, and hopefully with a bit of clarity. Each episode will slow things down and look at one question, a story in or behind the headlines. I don't have all the answers, but I'll dig into what I've lived, what I've seen, and how I try to make sense of this place we call Quebec. I'll bring context, history, and curiosity. Not to convince, but to understand. This isn't a partisan show, and it's not an academic one either. It's just a weekly pause, a space to think, to reflect, and maybe see things from another angle. And yes, sometimes I'll sound a little different, and that's the point. Whether you're in Montreal, Saint-Basile, Gatineau, Toronto, Edmonton, Vancouver, or anywhere in between, this podcast is for you. If you ever thought, I don't get Quebec, What do they want? Or if you ever felt they'll never understand us, you're in the right place. Because the truth is, I've been on both sides of that conversation, and I believe it's time we start listening to each other again. No slogans, no teams, just people trying to understand the place they call home, whether it's Canada or Quebec. So, welcome to Distinct, Quebec politics with an accent, serious topics, open heart, slight accent. This is a work in progress, a space to think out loud, to ask questions, and to try to build a better conversation about Quebec together. If this resonates with you, subscribe, like, and share. But more than anything, comment. Tell me what you agree with. Tell me what you don't. And what would you want to understand better? Because we're all distinct in how we speak, vote, or see the world. But maybe we're more alike than we think, regardless of our politics. Let's make it a good conversation. Thank you. I'm Farouk Karim. À la semaine prochaine.